If I Rule the World podcast welcomes Neil Rubenstein.
Hello.
How are you? You look confused.
No, I'm good. I'm good.
You're admiring the new board, aren't you?
Yeah, I like it. It's
Yeah.
very Christmassy, as I mentioned.
There's a lot of colors on this board.
Yeah.
But so Neil, we are sitting in your hotel room.
Yeah,
in the Strat.
yeah. It's
In Las
lap of
Vegas.
luxury, baby. We're
Normally,
doing it.
when you're in a hotel room, are you getting a signal here? Yeah. Normally, when you're in a hotel room in Vegas, it's a lot more nefarious than what we're doing right now.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Did you see my view of this wall?
Oh, the wall. That looks good.
So, you know Fonts Beats?
Who?
Zach Fonts Beats. He's a DJ from Long Island. He's very good. He's getting very big. But we always cuz whatever. It's not luxury. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's not as fancy as people think it is. So we always send each other photos of the hotels we're staying in.
Right.
I got hey, check out my view. It's just oh yeah.
I love hotels. It almost gives you an excuse to do nothing when I get here. Like if I sit around watching TV at home, I feel like I'm not doing anything. But when I could just sit in a hotel room and watch TV, and I feel like it's okay.
You know what's crazy, man? I don't think I turned on the TV once. I just don't turn on the TV anymore. Like at home I do because I'm a lazy piece of crap.
Right.
But when I'm on the road, I feel like maybe it's like a touring thing. Like I feel like I'm at work. I have to be working. So
okay.
I have the computer set up, and I'm if I'm in the room, I'm on the computer, or I'm doing something. Like I don't know. I haven't you can see the remote's not moved.
Yeah. Well, the day is young, so maybe there's Dirty Dancing on A&E or something like that you can jump on. But you mentioned work. You are here for work. That's why you're in Vegas. It's not just to visit me. It is to actually work. So what are you doing?
I do stand-up comedy, man. That's it.
Is it?
That's
It's
all I do.
one show. It's
this is right now. I'm in a contest. This is a contest, so it's like a little bit of a convention. I'd say there's probably 40 clubs represented or 30 clubs represented. Sometimes it's better. Like some years it's way better, but COVID, kept a lot of people home. But this year, I think there's 30 clubs represented, and they all vote on as 101 comics in the contest.
Okay.
But I worked my way out here.
That's what I was gonna ask.
I featured at a couple of rooms on the way out just to get to shake the rust off. You know what I mean? It's been so long. It's totally it's totally illegal in New York.
Oh yeah.
So it took me a minute to really get comfortable again, but the I've been out since the Halloween weekend. I came out, so feel good.
And you have to go to other states. I see, even Joe Rogan, Bill Burr, Adam Carolla. They go somewhere else, do theirs, and then come back.
Yeah. None of them are on the coast right now. None of them. There's nothing going on.
Right.
So, I'd love to have those guys as money and/or ticket sales.
It is a little easier for them.
It is a little easier, but it's not the worst, right? It's really not the worst right now. For I think if you're strong and willing to work. And
you also, I was thinking about this on the drive over here because we talked about you're a repeat guest, and we kind of went through somewhat of your history in the first one, but because I want to concentrate a little bit more on comedy and some of the stuff you've done lately in the past couple of years. You were in a scene where you could just be the big local band, but you toured a lot, you tour manage, and you know what it's like to just get out there. So you leave New York to do other types of shows, and I'm sure it might be similar in the way that there are people that only do their set in New York and maybe get stuck in the same way bands can do that.
So I actually was called by someone I respect. I was told that I'm a bit of a dummy for that.
Okay.
Because I'm living in New York, I'm paying New York money, and I am traveling further than other people have to travel to be a road dog.
Okay.
And I'm not getting the benefit of being in New York, which would be commercials and podcasts and whatever. But I'm not I don't feel as though I'm built for that anyway. I want to be a road dog. I want to do that. Like, I'm unfortunately stuck on Long Island because,
some of the stuff we discussed before.
I don't want, I don't want to,
Yeah.
you know, it's just, and it's not like a woe is me story.
Yeah.
I'm not like, oh, it's like, well, I just happen to be on Long Island. I can't wait to not be on Long Island, and I hope that situation changes at some point.
Yeah.
But, you know, choosing between living in Iowa and living with my wife, I choose my wife.
Yeah.
100 of the 100 times. So, you know, whatever. When she's ready to go, we go. And
Right.
if she's not ready to go, then I just continue to do what I'm doing.
And you're
And
not a real road dog, Neil. Just for the record. The road is your wife, is your mistress.
I like the road. I
Yeah.
do like it. And, yeah, I don't know, man. There's benefits to being like, you know, like a New York or an LA comic.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I'm struggling with that right now because that was a new idea presented to me that it's like, well, if you're a New York comic, be a New York comic. And I'm like, well,
Interesting.
I want to be a Midwest comic. You know what I mean? Like, I behave as a Midwest comic even though I live in New York, so I should.
But it seems to me that the people in music who were able to, like, the Movie Life didn't just stay a local band, and they
toured,
could have.
Right.
They got bigger because they toured.
Right.
So it's almost like you're getting contrarian advice to the contrarian.
I believe I've used that ever since, by the way.
That was the title of the first episode.
I changed my website to say it. I changed my business card to say it.
Yeah.
I love it. I think what it is that we're comparing two mediums, two uncomparable mediums in that regard. In a lot of other cases, I mean, we have this discussion where, like, you can straight up punk rock and comedy. There's so many correlations, but in this one specific instance, rock and roll is a hard ticket sell still.
Okay.
Comedy is not a hard ticket sell at most levels until you get to theaters.
Okay.
And there's like, okay, so like,
wait, just quick clarification. By hard ticket sell, you mean physical ticket sale, or do you mean difficult?
Oh, I mean, a hard ticket is I want to go see Zach Brown band.
Right.
A soft ticket is I want to go see live music.
Gotcha. Okay.
So people go to see comedy.
Gotcha.
They don't go to see Zach Brown's comedy.
Gotcha.
I don't know why I picked Zach Brown.
It worked. I get the correlation, but I don't understand why either. Right?
I've been in the Midwest for too long. It's been 3 weeks. So that's like, so there's like a log jam at some point where it used to be you were a feature, then you became a headliner, and then you did theaters, and then presumably you would get a sitcom or something. But now there's just so many, it's so saturated, and it stopped being a physical ticket, a hard ticket sell. It stopped being, people go see Tom Segura, people go see Burt Kreischer, but those people, that is so few and far between. If you're a club headliner, it's not that you're drawing and selling at a club. It's that you've just been doing it longer.
Wow.
And so I think that's the big difference between, like, Movie Life or whomever, Somerset Thrower, try to make a newer reference. They can go out and tour and build an audience because they're good and they're working hard and they're playing out. And then people start to go see them and they're like, oh, I like Somerset Thrower. I'm going to go visit. I'm going to go to the Sokol Auditorium and see Somerset Thrower.
There's a circuit. You're like, I like Somerset Thrower, so that guy books bands you like.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Oh, they're on the label with this guy.
Right.
Whereas with comedy, it's like there's a couple of like podcasting niches where it's like, oh, I like Ari Shaffir, so then I'm going to check out Mark Norman, I'm going to check out Joe List, and I'm going to check out whomever. But for the most of the people, where are you going to hear about Neil Rubenstein? You're going to go, maybe he features at a local comedy club, but it's not that he's opening for your favorite comic.
Right.
And that now you're a fan, so not to say that it can't happen.
Yeah, but
it
it's not.
certainly could. It's just not, it's not an apples to apples situation.
Right. You rely on that music more than you probably even realize.
Yeah.
It's just you kind of, get in there with whoever, whatever, and it sort of propels itself. When I would I've looked in Vegas since I've been here, like what comedy things are going on, and I see names, and I just think I don't know who they are. But I understand what you're saying now. It being
might not
drawn
be
to comedy night, and these are guys.
Yeah. So like because every comedy flyer, what they're selling you is the Netflix logo,
This
the
guy was
Hulu
on.
logo,
Yeah.
the HBO
Right.
logo, and that's what's selling the thing. Look, there's clearly people that are building their own audiences and drawing ticket sales. Kids like Ian Lara who like slowly and steadily that Instagram followership goes up, and they get more and more late night spots and more HBO shows, and
people bring their friends. Like this guy was awesome. And,
absolutely.
Yeah.
But I think and I'm not making excuses or anything. But I think for the most part, it's just you're a road feature, and then you're a road headliner, and then you get cruise ships, and then you die a comic.
Always aiming for the top, Rubenstein.
But success is different to different people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, Jeff Rosenstock doesn't want to be the biggest person in the world. He just wants to have his humble life and tour with his band. If Jeff Rosenstock decided to quote unquote sell out, he'd be the hugest artist in the world. He doesn't want that. Success is different to different people.
Yeah. I mean, it's got to be somewhat refreshing that at least you can put your stuff on YouTube. You can get it out there beyond the walls. It's the same thing in music.
Well, I think gatekeepers in general are just that's such an expired idea. Yeah. Like once you you get told no, you just turn left.
Right.
No. Okay.
Right.
Like I mean, in everything, in patent designs and fabrics and textiles, like whatever.
Everything.
Like if I can't go through the traditional channels, there's new channels today. There's new. Get out there and sew your own clothes, guys, because it's.
I mean, how many merch companies will just make it and store it and ship it, and you don't even have to really do much. You can just kind of like put your idea together.
Never have to touch it.
Nah, I mean, even the idea of just a website is cheaper, even if you want it. If you don't need it. You can have just social media, and it's like the gatekeepers are down, and in another way, it's super saturated. So at the end of the day, you still gotta bring something.
Yeah.
Whether it was back then or now.
Right. There needs to be a reason to come. And that, I mean, isn't that an argument for gatekeepers? It's someone out there sifting through the trash for you, so you don't have to listen to 19 terrible podcasts to find the one where it's like, oh, this guy's a cool personality. I like what he brings to the table.
Yeah. I think that's their argument, and that is an argument to keep certain jobs in place.
I don't necessarily agree with it. I like that. I like that sifting. I don't know.
Do you?
I like sifting.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not a big podcast fan per se, but like with music, I love sifting. I mean, it gets out of hand, but like, so I have like I'm really into atmospheric black metal right now.
Like, who isn't, Neil?
Not everyone, but there's a few. There's a few of us. We're in a group chat. But so I have two playlists. I have Very Excellent and To Check Out.
Okay.
And the Check Out one keeps getting bigger and bigger because I just don't have the time to like sit down with those albums. But then if it's good, it gets moved to the Very Excellent.
Right.
And so like I like that process. I like the like, oh, what's so and so posted an album cover today. I wonder what that band sounds like.
Right.
New metal to check out, and then. I'm on the plane for 9 hours.
So does that mean you're the gatekeeper, or do you mean that you prefer that there was a gatekeeper there that you wouldn't have to sift through so much?
I don't. I'm saying gatekeepers say that I wouldn't have to sift through them.
Right.
I like sifting through it. I like being my own gatekeeper.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Was that confusing? I guess that's confusing.
Well, when we talked about gatekeeper, for some reason I thought maybe you were saying that a gatekeeper is important.
No,
which was
I was agreeing with.
That's not what you meant.
Right, I was agreeing with your argument that they're saying that.
Right.
I was presenting it
Right.
well, maybe people think this. And you were like, yes,
Yeah.
they think that. And I was like, yeah, they think that. I like the sifting through process. I like finding the new
Even
ones.
when there is a gatekeeper, whether it's Netflix on a big level, or if I go on to Spotify and they're like, okay, here's all the podcasts from Wondery, which is a company that makes them. You're like, I like Wondery. They make well-produced podcasts. It's a tiny bit of a gatekeeper, but it's not like, the major label thing or NBC. They still put out tons of stuff.
Right. I guess that's a good sifting point.
Yeah, little gatekeeper, little bit of a sift,
little bit, but I don't know. Yeah, I guess there's arguments for both. I'm not.
Yeah.
And the beauty of the beauty of human nature is we can have competing and conflicting ideas at the same time, and just
one would say you're a contrarian.
I am a contrarian, but isn't that like the thing? Is like we can have those competing ideas. Like I can both hate speech and also value their right to say it. Like
100%.
You can have those conflicting things. Like I don't want to get too deep into that, but
no, but I often think about that because there is just a simple thing we do all day, every day, which is sift through other people's ideas. And the way it gets a reaction, or the way that people even find themselves these days, is like, this guy said this, now I don't like him. Or he said the wrong word, or he said colored person instead of person of color. And that's it. It's over. And there's like, they call it cancel culture, which is now becoming overused. But you can hold a couple of different thoughts in your head. You can laugh at an inappropriate joke, and you laughed, and it's fucked up, and it's like that's.
So I have that thing on YouTube. That's not okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I point, just for the listener, I point out the sexual harassment and homophobia in Three's Company, with no comment. Right. It's just edited together. Just the sexual harassment moments, just the homophobia. It cracks me up. Yeah. It's awful. And I say, that's not okay. And then I just show 7 minutes of it.
Right.
And it's all red staters commenting. You're a liberal cuck, snowflake, libtard, this. And it's like, all right, well, first of all, if you looked at any of my other stuff, you'd see that I am presenting arguments on every side of the coin.
Right.
First of all. Second of all, you never had an uncle that you loved but was maybe an alcoholic, and you're like, I wish Uncle Jack would stop drinking so much. I love Three's Company. It is my favorite sitcom. Yeah. I watch it all the time. I watch it so much that I was willing to sit and edit every single episode down to just the sexual harassment. Right. It is such a great sitcom. I wish it wasn't so sexually harassy. Yeah. And some of the homophobia is brutal. Yeah. And it's like, wow, I really wish that one line wasn't in the sitcom. But it doesn't make me not. And how can you say you love this sitcom if you're. I'm not trying to cancel it. I'm just.
Yeah, I'm not running for office.
And I'm literally presenting it without comment.
Yeah.
I'm just. Like, there's a scene where someone's literally trying to rape Chrissy. It's not that one. It's her boss. He's chasing her around the desk, that old trope, the chasing around the desk, and then he pins her against the wall and he says, "If you make it easy for me, I'll make it easy for you."
Wow.
That doesn't need to. We don't need that. They're not social. You know what I mean? They're not presenting that in like a social way. They're not presenting it the way that All in the Family presents.
Strokes, like touchy episode.
The different strokes episode, the All in the Family when Edith.
Rape, yeah.
It's not that. It's they're trying to get a laugh out of it. And we look. And
we laugh.
And we did. And whatever. That's not.
Yeah.
But if you don't see the problem in that, I don't even know what language to speak to you.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, yeah, no. And then someone will argue, like, well, he gets his comeuppance. Because that's every Three's Company episode resolves with.
Yeah.
and he doesn't because he fires her for not sleeping with him.
Right.
And then the resolve of the episode is they help the wife catch him doing that to someone else.
Right.
And then Chrissy gets her job back as the punishment for the guy. You know what I mean? Like as the guy.
Lived happily ever after. What's the problem, Neil?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I don't know. But why can't I love that and hate that? Like, why can't I love that show and hate that does that?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's what we're here. We're here to explore those feelings and to learn and grow. And people, you see all these like macho guys being like, "I'm right," and that's that, and it's like, whoa, dude, like, no, like that's not cool. The cool is being like, hey, you know what? I learned something today. Maybe I shouldn't say fudge packer.
Although, sorry, I have a soundboard here that came with the thing that I said I'd never use, but
it's too good.
There we go. With a Z Morning Zucker all of a sudden. But yeah, I have this conversation with people who are super political. So if you love Bernie, you don't know why you could even have a friend who's a Trump supporter. And if you're a Trump supporter, you don't know how you could like hang out with those damn liberals. But I'm like, I've seen it time and time again. You can write that all fucking day on Facebook. But if you guys are at the barbecue, you'll be fine. You're not going to do it to each other's faces. The guy isn't going to turn around and walk out like, oh, you voted for, Biden. I'm gone. There's always a few. But I can't like do that whole, if you voted for this guy, we're not friends anymore. Because when I see you, we usually talk about it for 2 minutes and it's like moving on.
I agree in principle.
In real life.
I am not that advanced as a human. So I fall prey to some of that stuff.
Yeah.
And there's a certain level where I'm just like, I can't be a part of. I can't be a part of the idol worship of anyone.
Yep.
Specifically, a government. Like, our government hates us.
Right.
Like, I mean, like we're numbers on a spreadsheet. We're nothing.
Sure.
Yeah. So that's the one thing where I'm just like, if your whole identity is idol worship of a guy who could not give a shit about you, I don't even know how to relate. Like, I don't think we'd have fun at a barbecue.
Well, I see it maybe differently. A lot of the business people that I've dealt with in jewelry and stuff, they were all super pro-Trump guys. And, I could see them just
economy and stuff. You're right, right.
But even like when I went to my sister's, she was getting an award. There was like this big benefit, right? The whole parking lot was filled with people with Trump stickers, and these people were in there giving $10,000 to cystic fibrosis, like doing amazing things. So I know it differently, maybe, because I can be like, I'm talking about the guy that would just be like, fuck Biden. You'd be like, come on, dude, and then it's like moving on. They have the ability to change that at any moment if they're going to act like an asshole on both sides. I don't care who you are.
Yeah, it's just, yeah.
I mean, I know you know. But
left eats itself. Like
I wouldn't just be like, hey, if you voted for that guy, unfriend me right now. It's like we might not even be watching the same goddamn news channels.
Yeah.
So I do see the difference, and I won't really judge my friends on like who, or fully cut them out of my life on who they voted for, because I like fucking anybody. So, I never win. But that's more along the lines of what I mean. Then when you get to the barbecue, you usually don't want them talking about that. You're gung-ho.
Yeah.
And then you get there. I don't know if it's the barbecue or whatever, but you know what I mean? That social gathering, and then someone's just like, he's just like moving on.
Like someone's like, I'm not wearing a mask, you're a homo. And you're like, wait, what?
Yeah, well, if they say that to you, you just, Facebook becomes a blur, man. Sometimes I don't even know who's saying what, because it's just a blur of arguing.
I'm a quick blocker. I like blocking people.
Yeah.
I do. But it's just because I don't want to, I don't want to hear I don't want to hear idea. I don't want to be persuaded in that like, if I'm gonna be persuaded, I want to be persuaded by intelligent people that are telling me that are opening dialogue to me. I don't want to hear, and this goes for both sides. I don't want to hear one guy be outwardly racist,
right?
Because I don't want him to sway me to racism.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, so, all right, your idea, I don't want your idea on my page. I just don't. And then I don't want the other person who's going to be like, you said mulatto, you're a racist.
Right.
And it's like, well, what? Can we have a conversation about that? I don't even know why mulatto is a racist term. And then, you know what I mean? Like, if you want to have a conversation with me about that, I will listen gladly. And then maybe I won't use it again in the future or whatever. Midget or fudge packer.
Right.
You know, like, oh, why is that? Oh, I didn't realize. I'm willing to listen and take that term out of my vocabulary if you persuade me so. But don't just drive by racist me.
Yeah.
Like, I don't need you either. I don't.
If you don't mind, could you just give me a full list of the words that we shouldn't be saying? Just, starting at A.
Starting at A. I don't know. Is albino okay?
Probably not. I mean, anything you say can and will be held against you.
Yeah, I don't know, man. There's so many words. There's certain words where I'm like, okay, if it bums people out, I'll stop saying that. You know?
That to me, what's lost on a lot of this stuff is intent.
It's intent, 100%.
Because intent is important. You're someone who's 75 years old and says, like, the coloreds. You know what I mean? You're like, am I going to, like, tackle them to the ground and be like, hey, man, that's not the right term? They didn't change their vocabulary. It's very different than the intent of someone who uses the N-word that's screaming at someone on Long Island.
Or vice versa. Like, you'll hear, like, Milo Yiannopoulos use all the correct terminology. Mm-hmm. But you know that he wants to eradicate my bloodline from the earth. It's like, that's bad intent.
Right.
Like, you're calling me the chosen people. And it's like, in parentheses, it's like...
He's one of those, he's actually Jewish, he's actually gay. So, but you know what's the things like guys like Gavin McInnes and Milo.
Gavin's a better example.
The thing is that I understand in some ways that's their gig. They're the court jester. They're pushing buttons. They want to be a troll. So if you want to be a troll, don't be like, what's wrong with these libtards? You just pushed for the sole purpose, and then you jump back into, like, serious talk. So which is it? You kind of going back and forth. So you want to piss people off. You deserve some pushback. That's all it really is. You pushed. We pushed back. And it's not about being politically correct or, there's some things they say that might even be kind of funny if they're just being, like, in the moment. But this thing that they're trying to push and push and push, it's like, all right, well, you do that and you'll get pushback. You can't, like, then turn around and be like, what's with these snowflakes? It's like, that was your whole point. So you just kept pushing.
I feel like they flipped. They're the snowflakes.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, they can't take a joke at all.
Oh, absolutely.
I got booed. I went for it. I intentionally did it, but I got booed because I said I voted for Biden. Mm-hmm. And it was like, and then I tore him apart. I was like, really? I was like, first of all, I didn't vote for anybody because it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Like, it was like they're both Republicans. I don't.
Right.
But, like, I knew it was coming. I'm in a red state, and I'm making a joke about, because I was like, I was like, this is 100% illegal where I'm from. Like, it's like, thank God for red states, And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, I mean, I voted for Biden, but still, and they're like, boo. And it's like, dude, you're so dumb. Why? Like, why are you so easily triggered? Not dumb, but easily triggered.
But that identity with a politician, whether it's AOC or fucking Trump, I don't understand how adults attach themselves to. I could see. I don't even watch sports, but your favorite team or Jimi Hendrix or something like that. But I don't understand.
Because your favorite team existed before you were born. Mm-hmm. They're going to exist after you die.
Right.
I mean, in most cases.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter the policies. It doesn't matter the personnel. It doesn't matter who's on their cabinet.
Right.
They're a team. I root for red and gold. I root for blue and orange. I root for black and gold. It doesn't matter. I'm rooting for laundry. Bernie, it's a finite piece of information. It's one person with no power
right
for maybe 8 years, maybe 12 years. That you're going to be around before them, you're around after them. Or maybe in the case of Trump and Bernie, they're immortal. We don't know, but
like Trump is.
But do you see what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. That's kind of how I look at it. It's like, how are you like? I understand attaching yourself to a sports team because it's escapism. This isn't escape. This is your life. This is they're playing games with your whether or not we can work, whether or not we can pay our rent, whether or not we can pay taxes if we have to pay taxes, and then that we have to pay taxes. What taxes we have to? You know what I mean? Like this is water cooler talk for them. It's like our livelihoods.
Yeah.
Pete Alonso, it doesn't matter what Pete Alonso does.
Yeah.
Tomorrow I wake up and I go forget about Pete Alonso.
I understand the he's better than the other guy thing all day long. I hate them both, but I'll pick this over that all day long. But I think there's been an extra skip in people's step with like voting for a certain guy in the past 10 years in a way I've never really seen it before. It's like, they're going to disappoint you, right? Unless you're insane, and no matter what they do is fine. But a reasonable person should realize, like, if Bernie was elected, he's going to disappoint you. If Trump is elected, he's going to disappoint you. So I understand you just want to, if you want to hold people to their ideologies, plenty of people I know do that, but there's just also attaching yourself to an identity. It gives you a skip in your step.
Yeah, like I could keep going. I don't even want to keep going. Like because it's like what do you like? He was doing that like promises made, promises kept thing, and it's like, what promises?
Yeah.
What promises did he keep? And like people are like, oh, yeah, say goodbye to America now that Biden won. Like, what do you think's gonna happen? Like,
Right.
What are you scared of losing? White guy with a business? Like, what? You think you're in trouble because another rich white guy is in office? Like, you're gonna do fine. Like,
yeah.
I don't know. It's just so crazy to me.
Yeah. It's just like, hey, man, be skeptical.
Yeah,
politicians.
Yeah, they're gonna do bad things.
You like one or
great,
the other, fine, but just be skeptical. That's my bottom line usually.
Yeah, I'm for sure. I'm like, Kamala Harris was talking about prison reform in the debate, and I'm like, you're lying. I'm screaming at the TV. Kathleen's like, you can calm down.
Yeah, she can't hear you, man.
She can't hear you. And if she could hear you, she'd ignore you because she's a professional.
Yeah, she's a professional ignorer.
I'm speaking. Whoa.
That was so planned. But
oh my god.
Rather than drill down on politics.
Oh yeah.
I wanted to ask you because you did a video for Playing Dead.
Yeah, I've done two for them.
Two videos for Playing Dead.
Are they good?
Yeah, they're great.
Are they?
Yeah.
I can't tell, man.
How could you not tell?
I don't know, cause I look at the video, and then I look at another video. I'm like, oh, that video looks, you know what I mean? Like I look at like an All American Rejects video, and I'm like, gorgeous.
Well, part of me bringing it up is hoping there's some young band out there that needs a video producer, and Neil is not the guy you want to hire when he's like, hey, was that good?
I can't. Yeah, it was awesome. You should hire me, but also, I don't know. I liked the last one better.
That was awesome. I got the feels from that.
Yeah, I wish. So I ended up like kind of switching it in the edit. Like my original plan was a little different. It was more like to tell a story originally, but then like when I started going through the footage, I was like, I don't really have enough of the story, but I can make this a feel good thing.
Yeah.
But then once I started doing that, I was like, oh, I wish I got like 2 more couples.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I wish we could have got like the drummer and his family out.
Right.
And just like made it more family.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, I think I did a good job of conveying the feels, but
yeah.
I think I could have made it feelier. But yeah, no, it's
Well,
good.
what artist doesn't have? I could
Yeah,
have made it
I always
feel
want
in their vocabulary.
Yeah, I always want to make it better. I always want to make.
Is there any more videos on the horizon? Is this something you want to do?
I like doing it.
Mhm.
It's a skill that I had to pick up from comedy. Like, you know, you have to shoot your own sketches. You have to shoot your own this. You have to have a YouTube channel. You have to have a podcast. You have to,
Yeah.
and it's like, all right, well, now I know how to do all these things. Like, I'm out of work. Sam was like, "You want to make a couple of bucks?" I was like, "Yeah, I'll make a couple of bucks." So yeah, if they want me to do another one, I'll do another one for them for sure. And I think, you know, if a band that I'd have to like it.
Yeah.
I don't know if that makes me a jerk or.
It makes sense knowing you and a lot of what we've discussed, but it's not a super money making thing. So I think it does change the parameters as to why you'd want to do it or not.
So, did you know Mike Kennedy? It doesn't matter.
Of course.
You know, oh no, not Kennedy. Kennedy is a different Mike. No. So Mike, he lives in Oklahoma City, where I was just visiting with him, and he mixes for a lot of punk bands.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, we were talking about the same thing. Like for him, like there's certain things that are just paychecks.
Yeah. And
then if he's gonna do like the bro rate, he's gotta enjoy it.
Right.
Like you can't, because you're just like, so you have to listen to the song over and over. And then there's the other thing with the video idea is like, I have to be inspired by this somehow.
Yeah.
Like I have to. I mean, I am a visual person, so like no matter what, whenever I listen to anything, I'm picturing what's going on.
Yeah.
So, but I have to. Something has to come to mind. Like I can't. You just listen to like some crummy country song and just be like, I don't know what's going on in this song. I don't understand.
How was Playing Dead? Were they receptive to your ideas? Did they have input?
The first one they let me do whatever I wanted. Mm-hmm. And then the second one, again, he let me do whatever he wanted, but then he pitched me one idea. Oh, he pitched me two ideas.
Sam?
Yeah, and they both ended up being phenomenal ideas that I feel like really put it over the top. So, I mean, I'm a collaborator. I love that. Like when I write jokes, like I love writing groups.
Yeah,
I love that. I love writing with people. Like I love working on things. Even, have you noticed like my memes lately? Like I just basically turned my Instagram page into a meme page. Not important. Okay. Not important. But I do these like.
Yes.
I do these lyric memes.
Okay.
So I'll take a famous lyric, like I'll have like Hall & Oates, and it'll say "Private Eyes Are," and then I'll take the Facebook page of a guy's name watching you.
Oh, I have seen these. Okay.
So I love that. That's the funniest thing to me is like taking a real name and just placing it. And so people started sending me names.
Oh, no kidding.
And I mean, I'm the pro. You know what I mean?
No question.
So if you give me an idea, I'm gonna step it up.
Punch it up a little. Yeah.
But so someone sent me Journey. It was Bill Levin. Don't stop. It was Bill. Someone sent me Bill Levin.
Yeah.
So then I found a Don Stop. And someone the other day sent me Ina Barr, a young lady named Ina Barr. So then I found Ina Barr, Dana Vita. Ina Barr, Dana Vita, Ina Barr, Davida. It's like a stretch, but it's just like it's so funny to me. Like I love that. Like yeah, send me a thing. I'll punch it up. I'll work with it. Like I'll figure something out. I don't know. Maybe that's a great example. You have to see it.
I've seen them. I didn't realize that was you.
Yeah, I love that. It's my favorite thing.
And that's
to do.
cool that people send you stuff too.
Yeah, that's cool. It's so fun. But yeah, like so, I like a collaboration. It's fun.
Yeah, I mean, you just mentioned that you do writing groups. What's that like? What is that? What is you? Do you write sketches together? Or you show each other what
No,
you've
so
written?
if someone's got like I'll do it with like mostly like younger comics, um, and they'll be like, oh, I'm working on a bit and I'm having trouble coming up with a blah blah blah, and like I'm not gonna write a joke for you. Like I'm not gonna be like, oh, here's the punchline. This is what the, but I'll help you. I'll help you find the road to go down. I'll suggest an exercise that I've learned over the years, or or something like that. And then I want that too. Like I had this one joke that I just couldn't find like I call it a button. I couldn't find this like closing. I just needed one closing beat to make the rhythm, to make it perfect. And I couldn't figure it out. And then I sat with my friend Ashley, and working on a joke for her. And then she's like, "What are you working on?" And I'm like, "I can't find." And I told her the joke, and she's like, "Well, how's the story really end?" And I would never have thought of that. Like what really happened after? Like, because I thought I thought I was at the end of the story, and the next thing, even though like it's part of the story, was like not part of the story.
Right.
But just her saying, "Well, what did you do next?" I was like, "Oh, I called my wife." I was like, "Oh, well, if I call my wife when she was there, like, you know what I mean?" It was just like changed.
Yeah.
Like it was just like oh, that's an avenue I wouldn't have taken, and that's what I like about like writing with other people. It's just seeing your joke from another angle, because you wouldn't have gotten there.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's really generous of people, because I've heard that, and I'm the outside looking in. The only comics I know that talk about it is like Neil Brennan and like Bill Hader or whatever, and they'll say that guy gave me a tag.
Right.
Does that happen on your level? Does it
Yeah,
happen
of
a
course.
lot?
Of course. Yeah.
Like someone will be like, "I heard what you said," and they'll just kind of help you.
But what generally happens, occasionally like if Neil Brennan's giving me a tag, it probably works.
Right.
I'm not Neil Brennan, and I wouldn't do that to someone. But I would say, "Hey, did you ever think of this direction?" And if they had, then they had.
Right.
But maybe they hadn't. And once you're like, oh, I never thought of it that way.
Yeah.
Like I would never have gotten that ending had this person not said just simply, "Well, what actually happened next?"
Right.
And that's just another. And then that question goes to the end of the exercise list. So it's like, make your lists, paradox, what's the opposite, the hyperbole, what's the craziest, what's the smallest, you know what I mean? And then the who, what, where, when, why, what really happened next? Like, you know what I mean? And then it's like, oh, well, like now it's in my vocabulary. So now it's like, it helps with everything. And that's why I try to help like newer comics, like, mostly because I don't want to sit through bad comedy. So if I can give a few pointers.
And it's that thing. I mean, when your band member or the producer goes, "Nah, do it like this," and you're kind of in love with what you did, and it almost takes time to figure out how to like separate yourself and just be like, "Let me try it."
Yeah.
And you're surprised more times than you would think you would be that it was actually a good idea.
We were just again sitting with Mikey this past week, and same thing. Like, we're listening to a record he's mixing, and the guy was doing hot water music impersonation most of the song, and then he gets to the chorus and he's doing like this AFI shout, but it's like actually better than AFI, and I'm like, that's the voice he should be using. Like, why didn't the producer be like, "Hey man, just for shits and giggles, give me one pass just in that voice."
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Instead of this like fake, I'm this tough guy. It's like, that doesn't. And like me and him were like agonizing listening to this record. Like, oh, this is just not good.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, if the producer gave two shits and was like, "Hey man, just for shits and giggles, man, just let me just hear it.
Yeah.
Just I know you love.
It depends on the artist. The artist might be like, no,
Okay.
I'm stuck. You know,
That's
what happens.
And then that's a fine. That's fine. And then there's an excuse for a bad record.
I got this audio book recently. It was called "Is This Anything?"
Where have I heard that?
It's Jerry Seinfeld.
Oh, right.
I hate bringing up Jerry Seinfeld to you because it makes it like my mom's friend who's like, "Oh, you're in a band. You like Cool in the Gang?" You know, but bear with me. But it's awful. Now, I listened to the intro of it, and it was him talking about that's what comics say to each other. Is this anything? Is this anything yet? So I thought it was him talking about process and what he went through as a younger comedian, and it was like 5% of that, and then just all of the jokes he's ever done his whole life. You would know all his jokes because he's done it how many fucking times.
And he's not right. He's not even delivering them on the book, on the audiobook. He's just saying them, right?
It's okay, but it's out of context because there's no audience. And the other thing too is like you're talking about like telephone booths. Like even some of the stuff is so dated. I'm like, I laughed at this shit in the 80s, and then I heard it again in the 90s, and then I heard it again in and then I saw your specials. Yeah. There's a lot of the same stuff. So I was disappointed because it sounded more of like a nerdy like process book that a professional comedian could kind of break down for someone like me, and it wasn't. So don't waste your time.
Nah, yeah, I like I've heard other people do versions of that where it's like I think there might be a podcast. Is This Anything?
Oh, okay. I mean, a lot of comedians do it on their podcast.
Jason Chatfield and Scott Dooley, two Australian comics. They have something. It might not be Is This Anything? It might be something. It might be something else. But they're two Australian comedians, and Jason Chatfield happens to be a cartoonist as well. Mm-hmm. And so they do a lot of cartoons, collaborations. They do a lot of cartoons for The New Yorker. Mm-hmm. And a lot of it starts on that podcast because they're like, oh, so-and-so did something. Is there anything to that? Like, can we figure out what the joke is there? And that's like a really fun one to listen to because they really, and they have goofy accents, which is always fun to listen to goofy accents.
And did you ever, I was talking to Matt Rubano, and he did a lot of improv classes and stuff like that. Did you ever take any improv, acting, anything like that? Yeah,
all that stuff. Oh, okay. That all helps. That's all good tools. Tons of acting. I mean, I can act legitimate. I can act like I do well in auditions. I've done tons of improv, Magnet and The Pit. It's good tools. It's good for. Yeah, that's it. Just good. It's good tools.
I think even just in life, because I
agree.
Toyed with the idea on Long Island of doing it, not because I ever want to do stand-up comedy. It's just it makes your brain think better, which something I've always been interested in. It's like almost like a self-improvement thing of the yes end, taking it and not just be like nah. You hear it. I hear it a lot, like in interviews when the person does the interview and the person, like you'll say, climb on a laugh. Keeps it going. You spin in a couple plates instead of it just dropping inappropriately. So I thought it would be an interesting thing to do. I never did it though.
Even understanding social cadence, like just something as simple as like a storytelling class, where. I mean, it's funny to talk to you about because you're like, you are such a charismatic social person, but those people that like.
I was waiting for you to compliment me. We're fucking almost an hour here.
But those people that like their stories just either go on too long or their sentences run on too long, and it's just like, well, we have a social cadence.
Yeah,
we have a responsibility publicly to speak and then let the other person speak.
Right.
It's not say your thing and then ramble on and then leave.
Right.
Say your thing. Let me say my thing, and then we can both leave.
Yeah, and you can have a beginning, middle, of an end to what you're saying too. Like the most basic. I know people who run on and you're like, just
have an end. There's got to be an end.
Yeah.
There could be a beginning and a middle and an end.
Yeah.
But make sure there's a goddamn end.
Right.
Yeah, there's some people out there that just take one Toastmasters class or one
Thought about that too.
one storytelling class. They're all super valuable.
Yeah.
They're all super valuable. They're all 98% are taught by stand-up comedians. And it's just all like it's all great tools. It's just good tools to have like at work, meeting new people in a bar. It's all very valuable stuff. And then like I find that like being good at that stuff, like I gave a killer speech at Dubin's wedding.
Yeah.
It was like being able to do that. It's like, oh, like it makes your life on stage easier. So
just being able to, that might help you communicate better with your boss or on a job interview. You know, it's not, you would think taking an improv class or something like that is so that you can be the big shot. I think, but it's the opposite. You sort of can, you know, jump up when you need to, you know when to pull back. You're kind of supporting everybody else.
Know when the scene ends, know how to add value, know when not to speak. And most importantly, most importantly, continue the dialogue. Like, don't, is The Office, Michael's always pulling out a gun.
Yeah.
And it ends the scene. Just, we can't go anywhere from here.
Right.
There's just, give me a yes.
Yeah.
And maybe give me some more information, and let's build this dialogue. Let's not, But I think also, like, a good rock and roll frontman.
Yeah.
So there's things that I've taken just straight, like, I remember you said you keep your toes on the edge of the stage. That was, I don't know if you said it in passing. You said like it was a nothing comment, and it stuck with me my whole life. Keep your toes on the edge of the stage. And that might not mean the actual edge of the stage. Might not even be talking about the stage.
Right.
This is where the light hits, the very edge of where the light hits. That's where I'm going to stand. Or in real life, like, I'm not going to get my opportunities if I'm waiting in the back of the stage. Come stand at the front of the stage. Like, let's go get what we got to get.
Yeah.
I don't know. So, like, things like that. Like, you might, take a Toastmasters class and hear a thing that just affects your livelihood, just affects the way you can function in society. It's like
that, the other thing too, I always found interesting with frontmen and people like that who have to talk in between songs is people think that it's just no big deal, right? And it's not that. It's just that you know how to work with it being weird, you being blinded, anxiety, unexpected situations. You get more used to those things. Like, I feel really nervous. I don't want to go on right now. And you know how to work with that. So it does give you a level of comfort, but you also realize you want to speed through the whole thing right now because you're nervous. And that's just a natural reaction to talk faster when you're nervous. And you realize, I'm just going to pause right here. And then you learn skills that are different than just a normal conversation because you got to get up in front of people and you got to project and you got to get to the back. And those things for me have been invaluable my whole life.
What happens when the mic goes out?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, totally. I mean, I agree with a lot of what you just said, but isn't it like everyone's biggest fear, though?
It is, yeah.
So that's a weird thing for me because it's never been a concern. I don't remember. Of course, I've been nervous on stage.
Yeah.
But it's always been circumstantial, like, oh, so-and-so's here, and they can affect my life. Or this person's here, and I want to work for them one day. Or this person's here, and I want to whatever. But I don't recall a time going on stage that I'm like, oh, boy, stage is big. You know what I mean? Like, I've never experienced that.
Yeah.
And I don't know, am I, like, is that why I still do it? Because I'm chasing this thing that I've never experienced? Like, I don't know.
I don't know. So what you're saying, you realize is uncommon because there
Yeah.
are people who were born to just, like my niece can just get up ever since she was a little kid. Most people aren't. So it is a little bit of like a clumsiness, like development stage, I think. But I found a level of it that became fun and became like that little bit of nervousness. I knew exactly like when just to be nervous enough that, if you're nervous, your brain says they're afraid of something. And what happens? You become sharper. It's like you're out in the wild. This is like a caveman thing. So it's just like sharp enough. I felt like I could see better. I could think better. And I kind of knew that sweet spot for me. If I was too comfortable, I think I wouldn't bring the energy. It would catch up. I would get it there. But it's just my own like relationship to public speaking and performing.
I always have to like caffeinate. I always have to have like a cup of coffee or a glass of soda just to be like, right, because I never really got that.
Yeah. If I have to do something brand new, like forget about live, like playing music or something, and I have like a new job, anything, and I just have that tiny bit of nervousness, I could almost feel like my eyes focus because your body's like, what's the most?
Right.
Your mind's like, what's the most important thing right now? Food? Is someone going to kill us? Like, what is it? Now, that's not to say that people that have overwhelming anxiety, that's not good because that just keeps you like fight or flight. You're ready to run out of there and you can't go punch your boss. But if you just have that little bit of like blood flowing, it's like I can just feel like myself focus and like, what do we got to do right now? Okay, there's this. It blocks shit out. It actually works really well for me personally. I can enough where I can soak in what's going on. Like I can take whatever happens. But it's just like a thing that developed over the years that I'm glad it did. It took a little time, but that's what happened with me.
Huh. Yeah. And
yes, that would be a good name of a podcast. Yes, and podcast.
That's probably out there.
Yeah, probably.
Improv bubbly. Oh Jesus! Stop. All right. Yeah. I know. I always, because you were the best front man growing up. Like you were. I think Diaz raised that question recently, and it was you. Someone said Tommy, and then Vinny.
Vinny, yeah.
But I think Vinny got a lot of it from you, right? I mean, he must have watched you a million times.
When I think of the best frontman, I'm thinking like HR, but it's a different thing. I understand.
Yeah, you're going. Well, we were saying Long Island.
Yeah,
Saying Long Island. But also HR. Yeah, okay.
But it is a different thing because he doesn't say anything, so you're just like, wow, or like Paul Bearer is to me Jimmy Gestapo. They all have different things, so I guess it depends on what you mean.
Yeah, I guess we're like also a different generation.
Yeah.
A couple years later than you guys, so. Huh.
But does your contrarian nature like is it difficult to do yes and? Does your brain want to?
No, because that's the thing. Like I'm not like I'm contrarian. Like I don't know. I feel like I'm like a weird version of that. Like I can't even do that. Contrarian correctly. You know what I mean? Like I have to be a contrarian kind of contrarian,
which makes you agreeable.
Which I'm definitely not, but I guess I am. Like I don't know, man. Like,
but it's like we said, holding many different things in your brain at one time.
Yeah, right. Isn't that the best part?
Yeah.
Like, isn't that what I feel like that's the best part of the human experience. Is like I said earlier, like learning and growing and experiencing things for the first time and experiencing things for the 1,000th time.
Yeah.
Like just always like I don't care how many hotel rooms I've been in.
Yeah.
Every hotel room is like a fun new hotel room.
Yeah.
And they all look exactly the same.
Yeah.
I know exactly where everything's going. If this was a king size bed, all this stuff would be on the couch. But if it's a queen size bed, it goes on the other bed. Computer goes right there. Is there a plug? Great. Perfect. Great.
Yeah.
My glasses on top of the computer. And then I'm set up for the week. And then Monday we'll be somewhere else.
Right.
And I'll find the plug closest to the bed for the phone. I'll find the plug closest for the computer at the desk. And it's fucking... sorry. But, we'll do it again. It's great.
Did you apologize for cursing? You're allowed to curse.
I don't know. Sometimes I catch myself. I probably cursed a million times this podcast, but I try not to.
Kicked off. What, YouTube?
No, I know. I don't know. It's just if I catch myself, I catch myself, and sometimes I don't catch myself.
Yeah.
They'd be like, "Why are you apologizing now? You cursed 9 times."
Well, is that a thing? Because I know that's a thing in comedy too, where
I'm
if
trying
you
to be.
curse
I try
too
to be
much-
clean. Yeah.
Yeah, you curse too much, people will see it as a crutch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, no one's like. I mean, I guess there are, but no one's like, "Hey, could you curse more?" My grandmother really likes when you curse more.
Yeah.
I brought my grandmother to the show. She'd like to hear you curse. I don't know.
And it is a crutch. If you need that split second to think a little bit more, and you're like, well, I
There's
fucking
a better word.
yeah. And if you're nervous, especially on a stage, the comic or the front man probably doesn't even realize how much he's cursing, but it's like people in the audience, their brain picks it up that maybe they're a little nervous.
Yeah.
They can't get out what they're saying.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
So let's say tomorrow when you do your show,
Yeah.
what's the best case scenario? Is it something you win and you go on to the next thing, or how does that work?
So there's 3 rounds of this. Well, there's 4 rounds, but like I start in the second round.
Mm-hmm.
So there's 3 rounds for me. If I win tomorrow, I go up again Saturday or Friday, and then if I win that one, I go up again on Saturday.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So,
So I hope you win, because Neil doesn't want me to come to a show. By the way, everyone.
I don't. Yo, I don't. I mean, I don't want to publicly disparage the event, but I don't like not being the curator
Okay.
of an event and have people pay top dollar.
Gotcha.
So this is an event where I don't have any comps, I don't have any pull, I don't have any leeway, and then I also don't know if it's going to be a good show.
Yeah.
Like, I'm the only comic that I am like, oh, well, I'll be good, but I'm only up for 8 minutes. So is it worth my friend spending $30 to tickets, $20, $50 on drinks, whatever the parking and, Uber, and then they end up gambling and losing $250? Like, is it worth all that? I don't know.
Yeah, when haven't done anything since March because of COVID, it's actually kind of worth.
All right. Well,
I was explaining this to my roommate because I was like, hey, I told him when you originally come in, then you were kind of like, well, maybe wait till this happens or finals or this and that. And I was explaining to her, like, I get what he's saying. Like, she doesn't understand because she doesn't have a similar background to us. So I'm like, it's like promoting yourself is weird. You got to do it.
yeah,
but
like you're playing with a bunch of ska bands on Wednesday. I don't know.
Yeah.
You want to come see me and, I don't know, like wait till Saturday, because then it's me, 52X, and Garden Variety, and that's going to be a good show.
Yeah.
Hopefully I get on that show. That's what I'm saying.
I may just surprise you, but we'll see.
Listen, you surprised? Look, I'm not saying don't. It's the you can't. I'll be bad if you show. That's not what it is.
Yeah.
I feel bad if it's not a great show, if it's not a great product, and you're paying top dollar, because there's other opportunities to see me that are going to be cheap. I'll be back in 6 months featuring at the club, and you know what I mean. And then it's like, I don't know.
I get it. I can appreciate where you're coming from and how you place it, because I've been there where you're like, yeah, we're on at 1:00 in the morning. We're the 15th band, and I know you're not only gonna hate the first band, you're really gonna hate the 5th band. So you're like, sometimes you're like, I don't want, and you're inviting maybe someone who, like I'm not in the comedy world, so I don't know what I'm walking into. So you have that in the back, like when you invite someone from work, and they're like, So I get it, but I'm an adult. I'll make the
like
right decision.
The time you went to see me.
Oh, I know.
Like, I don't want to make you sit through that again.
And I can know you think I'm talking shit. I had a blast. I thought it was funny, and you were funny. What had happened was there was a belligerent crowd because they were part of a wedding group, and they were wasted, getting more wasted. No one was in control. No, they were just fucking with every comedian that walked up, and then you got halfway through, and they would, it was like the type of thing where the crowd's just louder, and they're not paying attention. And you said like, oh, you're like really racist, not like haha racist, because they said something.
Oh, is that what happened?
That's what you said, and you're just like, I'm out, or whatever you said. Then the guy, we probably described this in the first one, but it's still a funny story, then came around to fight you. Yeah. So I come around like where Neil is, and then the funny part is like, that doesn't happen at comedy shows. That happens at hardcore shows. So here it's like, Neil's like, I don't know. Is it us? Like, what, And then you forever will like, I'm so sorry you came to that show. But I'm like, I was fine,
I am. I'm so sorry. I need you to, but one day, one day I'll do a show where we won't get into a fight, and it'll be great.
Well, at 100% of the live shows I've been to see you at, there's been a fight because there's only been one.
It's only been one.
Yeah.
Man. All right, we'll shake that off.
Yeah, we'll shake it off. And you put out your own record.
Yeah, do you have a copy? I'll give you a copy.
I don't.
Yeah, I'll give you a copy before you leave.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah, put out 7-inch.
Cool. Let's take a look, everyone.
Enjoy the Ride Records put it out for me.
Who?
Enjoy the Ride Records. They're local Long Island guy, Ross Shotland. Good kid.
That's cool.
Does a lot of vinyl stuff.
I like the notebook. The layout looks cool. It's kind of like a throwback. Didn't like David Cross, Sub Pop, like there was that whole
yeah,
thing.
I think they've done. Sub Pop has done some comedy records. I don't
Yeah.
know. I thought like, I don't know, my background. I don't know.
Yeah,
Just like,
it's a perfect idea.
I thought it was like a cool, and it's like a little different than most people.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I like the logo too, the crass. Logo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Conflict.
Conflict? No, isn't it crass?
That's conflict.
Wow. But there's an album that says like crass because it was one of the first albums I ever bought, Christ the Record, and it has that round. But I think a lot of people.
It's the same people, isn't it? It's like,
I don't know. It's a good question.
I don't know. One of those two. It doesn't matter.
Logos sometimes were similar back in the punk era.
I think that particular one is
Conflict.
the conflict one because the N in conflict.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
Because I removed the C, sort of. So it just looks like an N. But if you look at a conflict logo, like the N is the prominent letter anyway.
Look, memes, logos, videos.
All a product of doing comedy. Like,
Yeah.
I started making memes.
Yeah.
And then, so I got good at Photoshop.
Yeah.
And now, like, you remember Jodie Falco?
Sounds familiar.
It doesn't matter. She's a soap company.
Okay.
And I did her labels.
Oh, nice.
She's like, because I know how to do that now.
Yeah.
Like, because I make memes.
Yeah.
Comedy.
Say what you will about memes.
Because you can't just be a chef. You have to be a farmer.
Right.
And
You gotta carve wooden spoons.
you have to carve your own spoons.
Yeah.
You have to paint on the plate.
Mm-hmm.
Can't just cook a meal.
So I think we have ourselves a podcast here. I do have a final question for you. Now I asked you on the first one. Is our final question? Maybe things have changed because the world has changed.
What did I say the last time?
I don't remember.
I don't remember.
But I forgot to ask it on the first podcast back without Sam. And then Sam was like, did you cut that out? Like, is that not like a thing anymore? I was like, I just forgot to ask Paul Bearer the question. And the question is...
So do you want me to answer as Paul Bearer?
I do not. He didn't sound anything like that.
No, I guess not.
He didn't sing to me. He spoke to me. So the question is, we try and ask every guest, if I ruled the world, what would that look like for you, Neil Rubenstein, if you ruled the world?
I don't know, man. This is like the craziest question.
Fucking worst question ever.
It really is.
Yeah.
Universal basic income and healthcare.
All right. You got through that.
Yeah.
I don't remember you being so positive. Or maybe you did, and I called you, Neil a communist?
I'm a little bit of a socialist.
Yeah.
I'm a little bit of a socialist.
Yeah.
And it's funny, too, because it's like, I don't know, it's just funny. Because people be like, oh, it's socialism. I'm like, all this stuff you have now is socialism. Like, your army is socialist. Your police force is socialist. Medicare is socialist.
Yeah.
Social Security is socialist. Like, what do you think? What do you think's gonna happen if you forgive student loans? Like, what do you like?
Just throw more debt onto the pile of America. That's
Yeah, but it's like you're doing that for like airlines. Why not for people trying to better themselves?
agree. I'm not so for socialism like you are, but oh no,
Singing us a song.
I'll just edit that. But I'd rather spend on free healthcare than Iraq war.
Yeah,
you
like
know what I mean. If you're gonna spend it,
look, there's like a few things where it's like, all right, we can chill with like some of the drones, and
yeah,
and not every police force needs a tank.
yeah,
If we can we just get rid of those? If we
Yeah.
get rid of those, then like maybe some money goes to some other stuff. Like I'm not saying
or all that like $200 for a hammer in the military.
Come on.
Spend $4.
yeah, and it's like purposely spending surplus money so that your budget goes up the following year.
Yeah.
Like there's got to be a better system. And
Absolutely.
like we were talking about AOC earlier about like people just like jumping on board with her. It's like, yeah, but she's got like some good ideas, and like I know none of them are gonna happen, but like it's nice to dream. You know what I mean? It's nice to be like, oh, that would be sick. Yo, think about this. I think about this all the time. If Jeff Bezos, all the electronics turned off in the room. If Jeff Bezos just bonused his workers a year's paycheck this Christmas,
Right.
if this Christmas he just said, hey, thank you everybody who put up with all the bullshit, the whole COVID, all this stuff. Here's a bonus check of $40,000 or $50,000
Yeah.
each person, whatever. He wouldn't feel it.
He'd still be the richest man in America.
He wouldn't feel it. He wouldn't feel it. And you'd all just spend that money on Amazon.
That's a good point.
Like, why aren't these people doing that? You know what I mean? Like, if American Express just gave everyone $100,000, we'd all charge $100,000 of interest to American Express.
Right.
I can't believe that no rich person has thought of this. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
if Walmart gave their employees a bonus of their whole check, people would be carrying them out Lollapalooza style. Like
They probably
we love these guys.
can't because like stockholders and stuff. But if you take someone like Jeff Bezos and he said, Amazon's not doing it, I'm doing it. Like personally, it's a different story. But companies, they don't answer to just like one person, and stockholders might be like, wait a minute, what are you doing? But if Warren Buffett does it, it's not the same as his company's doing it. You know what I mean?
Okay, so then Warren Buffett should do it.
Yeah.
Because he does, right? Doesn't he own American Express? Like, doesn't Berkshire Hathaway own?
I don't know.
I think they own like part of American Express or
Yeah.
like whatever. Or whatever. Any bank, you know what I mean? Like, it's not like we're just going to hoard. Our class aren't hoarders. We've proven that by always being in debt. And who are we in debt to? The people who hold all the money.
Yeah.
So just give us money. We'll give it right back to you. And we won't feel like pieces of shit. And we'll love you.
Just for the record, you just said your true "if I ruled the world" answer, which is, if you ruled the world, you'd make all these guys dole out their money.
Yes. Yeah. Okay.
I think that's
To universal basic income.
that's routed through the government.
Yeah,
It's the
yeah.
same thing.
Yeah. Right.
All right.
Okay.
Cool, man.
I don't know. I don't know.
Maybe I'll see you this week again at one of your shows.
I hope so. I hope I advance.
Mhm.
And then if I advance, I'm gonna be like, yo, George.
All right. I'm bringing brass knuckles and mace.
Like, George, we're rolling deep.
Yeah,
we're
rolling
gonna
deep.
fight. We're gonna fight someone. All right.
All right. Cool, man. Talk to you soon.